Welcome back to Captain Industry. My name is Niklaus and we're here in the late game, and what we're going to do is we are going to be taking a look at some of the problems that arise when we get to 10,000 population or above, because we will need to go above as we start fixing things, because we only have 72 workers available and we do need more than that for fixing it. So we can take a look at the stuff that is sort of not working, and then we have the very blatantly here, medical supplies. Medical supplies is, even when not having any diseases, it takes 50, and then when there's an active disease, it goes up to 75. However, the build that we have here was built like, oh, this is absolutely brilliant. This is perfect. This is definitely never going to be running out. And it produces 48, which is not enough for 10,000. That's enough for 9,600 population. So this whole thing has to be revised. And it, not only that, plastic is not doing great. So we need different plastic. We also have the other thing, that's fertilizer, but they're actually surprisingly connected, because all of this requires some fertilizing. But not only that, I also sent my fertilizer over here into this contract, which takes fertilizer into sugar canes. And the sugar canes, they are then needed almost exclusively up here to make sugar, which makes ethanol, which makes plastic. And you can see how much Unity we're spending just to keep up with it, and we're still not keeping up. So there's definitely a problem here that we are not getting enough plastic because we're not getting enough ethanol, and because we're not getting enough sugar canes, and the sugar canes are needed in such high quantity, and that means we have a contract that burns through our fertilizer. Not great. So what we're going to do today is we want to make a new design for medical and plastic that will be focusing on getting better plastic and doubling up this so we can get up to 19,000 population. And then we want to make a new sour water stripper as well. Yes, sour water stripper here, because that's also using Unity. So we can see how much Unity we're building just to keep things going. That also means that one of the things is that we're going to be completely transitioning out of diesel and into hydrogen. So all the diesel part here, some of these processes have diesel production. Some of these are taking the naphtha into diesel, and that's a bad thing. So there's definitely some things to do here. So we can transition this into focusing on naphtha instead of diesel. We can transition the plastic or the ethanol production from being sugar-based to being naphtha-based. Where is it? It's not it here. It just skips this level. It goes here. Where is it? Weird. How do we make this? Oh, right. It's not this. It's plastic. It's plastic that will be here. There's two versions of making it, either from ethanol, which we can make, or from here. So this is how we want to do it. So we're going to start by taking this one and revising it to be bigger. So let's take this and go over to a design space and try to figure out how it's going to be built. And I'll build it 1, 2 there. So the first thing we want to do is simply increase these here. So now this will be making exactly enough. So that means we need 48 anesthetics and 48 morphine inbound. So we are going to take all of these belts here. All of this needs to go up just because it's annoying. And all of this also has to be upgraded. These ones are level 1 pipes, are belts that's not good enough. So this is a chemical plant 2, and it makes 24. And also we take all of these out here. There we go. And we'll take this part out. And this part. There we go. Get some moving space here. Good. Now let's see. This is ammonia plus hydrogen fluoride plus steel, which is something we already have inbound. We just need 2 of these. There. And then we would also need more hydrogen fluoride. This is making 12, so we'll take 2 of these. This one's also making 24 morphine. That means it needs to double up. So basically, all we need to do is just double up this one. That's pretty easy. Then we go back and say, okay, this is actually using ammonia plus ammonia. So that's 12 ammonia we need. This ammonia is then not enough. So again, we're going to be moving all of this away. So we're going to need 2 of these. And let's try to get this in here. And okay, let's try that on for size, this idea. Yeah. And I will then move you a little bit out there, because I need the output from here to go back in here. And I can take all of this out. Put it here. And this will be like that. We're gonna do all the piping and belting afterwards because that's crazy. And I think I need the whole thing changed a little bit. There. And I'm gonna get it on this corner. There we go. Right, so that's the ammonia. We need one of these ammonia just to feed the anesthetics. Yes? Good. And then all the other things like acid coming in, we'll just get the acid inbound, and then we're going to be making the antibiotics. That is for the intermediate step, so that's 48 antibiotics, which means I need double up on this. There. That's kind of a lot. And that would also mean like 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. That's 48. So this is 48. Here, we'll take these two and put them in here, I guess. Because the ammonia is needing the nitrogen. So how much nitrogen? It's 24 plus 24. But this will not work at full speed because this is using 1 times 6. So 6 ammonia plus 12 ammonia, that's 18 ammonia. That means this is running at 1.5 speed. That means I need 36 nitrogen, and we need some hydrogen as well. So all the inputs are just going to be exactly the same as before. And then we go one step backwards. And now the next thing is actually going all the way back here. So this should be easy, right? This is making 12. That's 24, and that's 24. Oops. Here, 24 plus 24. So these two are also okay. I'm going to put them in that corner. This is a chemical plant 2 that makes 24. And then I'll just double that one up as well. So now we have to have a look at it. That's 24 plastic plus 24 plastic plus 6 plus 6. So it's 60 plastic we need in total. So now the next part is looking at plastic. I can just take all this out as well. So we are not going to get all of this done the same way. Let's take all this in here. That one goes out. Oh, here's another thing. Fermentation tank. Oh, that's actually not at all something we need. We don't need this. Kill that. Okay, so let's do the plastic. How much plastic do we want? We definitely want more. Oh, there's a weird thing here. I think we want just go crazy and take 8. And we do not want to bring it because we actually want to, if we look at it, we can see this is producing quite a lot of exhaust. That's about almost 200 exhaust. So we definitely need to process the exhaust as well. But this will be a lot of plastic. Like how much plastic? 36? That's a lot of plastic. It'll definitely be enough to get in here and here. So we got enough plastic, but it does require a lot of naphtha there. And that would be like 96 per minute, which is kind of not trivial. Okay, so that's something we need to bring in. And then, yeah, that's crazy. Chlorine is something we bring in. This is something we bring in. So we don't actually need the step where we make the ethanol. We do need to make a little bit of ethanol outbound, because if we look at ethanol where it's needed, I am needing it here. That's 18 ethanol that's needed. And then on top of that, we also need a tiny bit of ethanol for some lenses. Yes, so that's 8 additional at the worst case. So if we have 26 ethanol, then we're good. So that's not very much. So how do we make the ethanol then? Well, I have an idea. What if we take all the exhausts and we just go down to this recipe? That one. So this here will now take the 240. It's only 200. Gets to 96 carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide could be made into 1, 2. Yes, like this. That's 27 plus 27. What if I'm needing more? Then we put this as a backup plan. Good. So what we're actually seeing now is here. And I didn't want you to be... I'll build that here. We get the exhaust in and it becomes carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide can then be getting some hydrogen, which we're already bringing in anyway. to make some ethanol. So this makes 36 ethanol. That will be plenty. And the rest of it, the rest of the carbon dioxide just gets converted into graphite, and then it'll be happy. Okay, also very good. Then the only thing we have here is this needs some sugar. So that's 6 times 4. That's 24 sugar. So each of this is 12. So we just need, basically just need 2 of these for the sugar production, which is kind of a distinction here. And that means we'll be radically lowering our sugar consumption here, which is good. Lowering sugar consumption is a good thing. And then this one, I don't know, goes somewhere like this, which should actually be everything. So we get sugar production, and we get, like, this is going to be making the ethanol, and the plastic goes in here. Anything else we're missing? Steel is coming in. There's a lot of steel, actually. Plastic, we got that. Ethanol, we got that. And then the nitrogen and the hydrogen and all of this. Yeah, okay, so everything is working. And then we'll just basically get this and this. They go around and into this and into this. And then these two go in here. And the ammonia, or the anesthetics here, antibiotics, goes in here. All right, then now it's just a hell of a lot of spaghetti to get the whole thing in. This is quite an extensive build, and it's actually a little bit more inputs and outputs than I had anticipated. There might be some different things we can do, like this graphite and sulfur are just like residuals from the rest of the production, so it needs to go out. And then we get a little bit of sugar canes in, not too much, a little bit of biomass inbound, and some others. So this, and we also have like for, let's see. Yes, for the nitrogen, there is an overflow here where it pushes out that way, and then only excess gets burnt or vented. And it is a nice sort of depth to it, so it's not too overwhelming. So if we just kind of copy it, and then we go up to our design space here, and we can say, well, it should be easy to sort of place it pretty much the same place. It's a little bit smaller in some regards. So I guess what we need to do is just delete the whole thing and place this. Oh, that's going to be a little bit of a nightmare. There we go. We are now placing it. Smash. And then it's just a matter of hooking it up again. The one thing we do need is this one. That is just going to be a intersection here. There. And nothing else is sort of hooked up to a direct line, which means we can take this, and that's like, oh, 231. Okay, we don't have enough Unity. I've been wasting Unity, because Unity is also a pretty precarious situation here. So we'll just let it build, and then lots and lots of stuff is going to be in trouble. We will need to get this build here of sugar canes flowing in to whichever sugarcane, this one now. And then wait for the rest of it to just build. So it's slowly building. Like, things are definitely working, but they're not working amazing. But they're kind of getting in here. The acid is not working because we do have acid issues. The naphtha is not working because we don't have naphtha anywhere. Ethanol is not working because it's not, well, we don't have the naphtha, and this one isn't working at all. So tons of stuff is not doing great here. We are going to gracefully ignore that, because we are going to take an output. First of all, we're going to be killing you, and you know what? I actually don't think I want any of these here. No. So I'm going to be changing all of these ships to hydrogen-based, and also get some naphtha to export, and then just trying to get this. Yeah, so the way that I'm going to do the naphtha export is here. This is actually here. So instead of moving it into this one, which is bad because that just makes diesel that we have no use of, then we're going to take another box out here and then just export these into that. Also interesting that I can actually change up here from making heavy oil into diesel. I can make heavy oil like that. That's and then of course I need to change the pipes. Ugh. Yeah, let me just change this. So one of the big advantages of this kind of build is that the breathing room I put into this base actually means that there's quite easy to make adjustments. So what we're going to do here is we are going to take this one in. We have now changed this recipe to be exporting the naphtha, but since we have a full diesel, then we should actually also change it so that we get diesel in here. So the diesel can be turned into naphtha as well. So we're going to be taking this at level 4 is where I'm getting it there. So this one goes here and it goes up to level 4. 4. There, that's level 4. And then getting in here. Here and here and here. That gets us. And then we need the Unity on this part, and then we also need like inbounds. We need some diesel inbound. That will actually be from here, where we say, do I want to sort of take the diesel from this one, or do I want to take? I think I just want to take it as a backup, like this. Then basically say, okay, if I have some more diesel there, and this one gets built, and you get the diesel out here at level 1, which goes here, I guess. All the way in. And then they are complaining that no one can sort of bring the diesel in. That's because they're not supposed to bring the diesel in. They're just supposed to get this. So I'll also make Unity on this. That will mean that we try to start by filling up this buffer. And once this buffer is full, which it basically is, then any excess that comes in will now flow out here. It'll go in and become part of this build. You will never be getting things inbound and outbound. Good. And the outbound here is perfect. And you are also going to stop complaining about this. And you're going to stop that as well. There we go. So then we get more naphtha, which we're going to need. So this one is now converted to naphtha. This is, yes, also converted. So we now have this thing, which was prioritized on diesel before, is now naphtha based. But it's coming in and it's going to be great. You will not. Don't ever go in or out of that one. Sweet. This is brilliant. So now we have all of our medical supplies done. That is happy. Everything here. This is filling up. And we got all the medical supplies we want. The next thing we want to do is this one. But we have a problem. And that problem is this is... I can't build this bigger without also leveling this. So we're going to be landfilling or leveling a little bit inbound, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inbound. So all of this needs to be run down, which should also be possible here. And then that will also go all the way over here, like that. And here, this is as much as I dare. Maybe not even that one I dare. Yeah, let's not dare that one. Like this. So it's like middle of this tile. And yeah, so we need to move here and start doing some design. So let's start some landfilling of this while working on a design. So we're going to start with a design space for this. And this clumped up thing is just not working. So we're going to have to sort of strip it apart and do it in a different way. So the first thing we want to do is we want to say, okay, what could we do with this part here? Like we need to say that the baseline is using 8 of these, but it would also be nice to be able to do more than 8. So let's have a look. This one will be, let's build it somehow. Somehow, yes. We're gonna build this, and let's flip it as well, like this. Okay, because then I can easily say, oh, this stacks incredibly well. Wow. 8 of these. Sweet. And we just get 2 lines in here, easy. We get, I think I want to say, this will actually be on level 1, because I have a plan. So we can take you out, and then all of the spaghetti here, well, most of the spaghetti I can take out, like that. But we leave the buildings. There, good. It's a lot of the spaghetti out. Okay, so the main point that we want to make is actually we want to make sure that we have more of this part here. So let's, I don't know, let's build it. Probably build this at the end. So here's the thing. What if we did this one by getting organic fertilizer and then using the same amount of resources, but then getting 50% extra outbound? Oh yes, please, thank you. And we will then also have this as a backup. So that is going to be just like that. We get 50% more fertilizer. That's pretty good. The only caveat is, of course, that we now need to figure out a way to make some organic fertilizer. And this one has organic fertilizer. There's two ways of doing it. There's compost, or there's compost and dirt. The thing is, we have dirt is valuable in other things, but compost is not really. So we're actually going to be doing, the primary one is just compost, and the second, you don't even need the second one. We just want to burn through compost. Because the reason why the compost is valuable as a resource, or the way that we can do it, is we can actually make compost from here. This one is getting, let's see, biomass here. And then only do the stuff from settlement. That is, for some reason, it dropped. 76. So 76 biomass is what we get. And in this one, that would be 48 compost. Then we also have compost being produced over by our, where is it? The food factory here. Like this is making compost. Then we have compost here. This is making compost. Well, it's actually burning compost, so not great. And then the last place we make compost is here, which will make, like, it's 3, so it's 12 plus 12, so that's 24 additional. So we could actually get like a lot of compost. So that's our objective, is to use this compost here. This is producing 96, which is about half of what we want. So let's do another one like this. So this is going to be one build there. So this needs about, and when we then produce outbound, this will be producing 270, and then we need the final part. That's this one. Could it be closer? Oh yes, it should be closer then. Nope, not this close. Okay, that's as close as I can make. Each of these are only consuming 60 of the fertilizer one. So that's 180, and one more is 240, and then one more again. There. That would be 300. So this is going to be almost working fully. Great. Yep. And let's get this from the north side, so we flip it. So this would now be making significantly more, like 50% more. If there's 50% more output from this, then there's also going to be 50% output more. So this is great. That is definitely one build. And I kind of want to say the stuff that comes in here comes in on a bus, a mini bus, which is also what we did before. So at level 1, I'll get sulfur. At level 2, I'll get water. At level 3, I'll get ammonia. And they go in there. The reason why I'm not using level 0 is because I will, for example, get a input box of that one. Here, this will be an input box of compost. Do the usual things. And then if I can just leave this at ground 0, then it will be so much easier. This one though needs 36 times 3, so that would be these 3 here. Somehow inbound. Let's see, let's get this out. I'll make this sort of further down. This. And in this case, now we don't need ammonia because, or nitrogen, because we're not going to be using or needing that for anything. So let's take these other things. So this is the mixer with the, well, junk build, I would say. Let's get that here. And this is just getting any additional sulfur thrown out. So that's fine. And we also were running out of acid before, because we have the acid production running at double speed, so we'll double up the acid production. Anything else we want? Oh yeah, one of the many most important things, this one. I'm gonna get that here. This will be, we're gonna skip the diesel production and then go straight to that one. Like there is actually an argument for using this one instead, because then we get the wastewater. The wastewater can be used into making some sludge, and the sludge can be made into compost plus some fuel gas, and then suddenly you get fuel gas from this. So like that, there's an argument for it. I'm not gonna bite on that one, but there is a point. So we get 4 of these. We can potentially, because we make it this way, build it further in, and then all we really need, like one of these definitely needs to go up and bigger. You are gonna be over by that one. I don't know how close we can make it, but I kind of wanted to make it as close as possible. This will take some effort here. Then the bigger issue, this is acid. I will also be making a big box of acid here. So acid is bigger. We need to make... This is a special one. I'll come back to why we have 3 of these. This one is a sulfur and it's just idle. So that's going to be here, I guess. This is the sulfur that's supplementing from anywhere. And then we have the slag. This is slag, and I have learned my lesson now. Always make the slag in the big boxes. This is going to go in here. So somehow that can go in. That's the limestone. We also need limestone over here, but I think I'll just bring it in as a separate one. I don't think I need to sort of pass it that way. Okay, and this is also gone. So this is basically built, and then I would take this sort of a little bit up. I don't want to build it this far because then it can't be built, but somewhere compromising in the middle. So this will be the build. Then we need to set up the piping and belting and all that stuff. And once we do that, then we can stamp it in. So this is pretty much as compact as we can build it. We got all the things coming in. And yeah, I'm putting this one down here for the blueprint, but it won't actually be built here because I'll build it somewhere else. So we're going to take this build, and then it is a matter of going up here. I have moved these out of the way, both so that we could landfill, and you can see that now we've sort of carved it off. We moved the captains down here, and then what do we need to do now? We are just going to be deleting all of this, and well, I'm kind of thinking, don't we also need to delete? Yeah, we can also delete this. This also doesn't have a purpose at all. And then this one goes away. The reason why this doesn't have a purpose is because I will eventually, once this one fills up, because we have 50% more production, then I will be able to take some ammonia and feed into the chemical fuel production. It doesn't need much. It's actually way overbuilt, by the way. And all of this is disappearing, and then we're ready to build the next thing, or build a new design inbound. Okay, so let's stamp it down. Okay, we feel this is good. Good, and then stamp it down and get all that sorted. What we need to do now is we get the 2 inbounds. That means the steam inbound and the the other thing inbound. Yes, let's get those inbound. And so we hook up the remaining parts. I hope they are fitting, and they get in. And we get the steam in here, and we get the sour water in here. And now it's needing to rebuild all of this. And some of these are complaining because they're not really getting it. We're not really getting any compost inbound. The reason why we're not getting compost inbound is because we don't have anywhere that actually is ready to make compost. We also need to make here, this one. Like this. And get this built, and then rotate all of these so that they flow the right way. There. So that will be the ammonia will go in here. So that's also an easy one to do. I just take it from here and then go 1, 2, 3. 3, I guess. And that goes into that one. And then this one can rotate back again. And the other one is going to be water. That's also going to be simple. I don't think we'll actually generate much water, but we absolutely have to have a way to get rid of water if need be. That one goes out. That one goes out. And this one gets placed. everything is now working except for the compost. So now we need to make sure that the compost like this is getting exported. Also stuff like this one. All of this is simply getting away. We're not going to use any of this anymore. Go away, and this one should just be empty. I'll even do that. And then change this to compost. And I don't think I need the only big trucks, do I? I don't know. So we're starting to get a little bit of concrete compost inbound, not concrete, compost. And then it warrants an explanation what's going on here. So this one is idle, doesn't have anything. This means that anything that pushes out from the rest of the network will go in here. And that will just be supplementing this path here. I will prioritize the stuff that gets produced, but then this one will sort of consume everything that we just happen to make here and there. This one is making it into a box. This box is also idle. It's just it's not pushing out, it's not pulling in. This is just available to anywhere that needs sulfur. So for example, the tofu production needs sulfur, but we can't rely on the random production of sulfur coming in here from the water, from the exhaust production or exhaust cleansing to just magically match up with the amount of sulfur we need for this part. So therefore we siphon it through this build, and just anything that gets pushed out go in here, anything that pulls from here. Then on top of that we also have this specific one, which is pulling from a ship container. This ship is only allowed to go to very specific places, but one of them is here, so that we never run out of sulfur to keep this one going. It will try to use any excess that comes in first, and then only do this afterwards. But nothing will go in here. So in order for this in order for us to start using sulfur to convert into slag, which is really bad, then I would have to have this belt here filling up, and then it goes in here, and then I'll need to junk it. But we are now getting pretty much full on fertilizer, and the reason why is twofold. First of all, we're producing 50% more. That's nice. Second one is we don't need as much sugarcane, because what we just did previously here isn't really using a lot of sugarcane. So the sugarcanes we produce inside here, the greenhouses, is enough. So what we now have is a really, really nice situation here that is exactly what we want. We have the only thing is, I think the rubber is not working, but I mean that we could just build an extra one if we want, or we can just wait a little bit, because it is definitely scaling up here. It is increasing. So now we have this. What we can do, if we needed to get bigger, we could put another 4 out here, another 1 or 2 out here if we want. This thing can't really expand it any further, but it's also like we got 50% extra yield, which is very nice. So that means we're now really steady and stable. Also, we converted this from being diesel-based to naphtha-based, and that will also be a handy thing. So we now took care of 2 things that were scaled towards 10,000, but not scaled, or maybe even scaled for maybe 8,000 population, and now it's scaled for 15 or maybe even 20,000. This one is for 19,000 not in a during sickness or disease, but during disease is maybe like, I don't know, 12, 13,000 I guess. So this is not a problem. This is really good. We also got rid of all of the Unity, or we'll get rid of the consumption of Unity to keep this flowing. So we are now ready for the next step. The next step will definitely be space probes and asteroid things. So let's see if we can, in the next episode, drop an asteroid on our base. That would be absolutely lovely. Remember, the blueprints are of course available to Patreon supporters, so if you are a Patreon supporter, and then you, aside from just my eternal gratitude, you also get blueprints, so and design and save games if you feel like it. So thank you very much for watching, thank you for supporting, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Until then, take care and stay effective.